Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Mike Bergman, Vice President of Technology and Standards at the Consumer Technology Association, the producer of CES. He joins me to discuss IoT device security and why enterprise and international coordination is needed there. Mike, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Hi, Jill. Great to be here. Thank you.
You got it. Let's talk about IoT device security. How come it's gotten a lot of scrutiny as of late?
So the history on this goes back a little bit. If you'll indulge me here, in 2016, there was a massive attack on the United States internet infrastructure. Very successful attack. 150 of the most popular websites in the United States went down for hours. This got a lot of people's attention, and the mechanism by which this attack was made was something called botnets. These are massive groups of connected devices that have been compromised by hackers to do something else than what they were designed to do. So these bots in this botnet were, at that time, it was discovered that they were basically security cameras and web DVRs, but they primarily. But this whole set of devices were all programmed to send malicious traffic in an overwhelming surge to a weak point in the U.S. internet infrastructure. Very successful attack. And the United States government took notice. There was an executive order. Subsequently, Department of Homeland Security and Department of Commerce worked together on a plan to push back on these botnets, because botnets now have just continued to grow and become a continued scourge. Right? These botnets are fundamentally compromised IoT devices, connected devices. But when 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 of them are all told to do the same thing, it can be really overwhelming. And what we've got now is paid attacks. These denial of service attacks are paid attacks. Botnets are being used to distribute the malware that drops ransomware on computers. They're used for ad click fraud. So there's really a lot of motivation for pushing back on botnets, right? And then at the same time, the tactics that you use to make devices more secure against being compromised into a bot, they're also going to protect you against someone compromising a single device in a single attack to go after your financial data or your network resources or whatever else. So it's
Mike,
all
let me ask
good.
you a question here. Are you seeing improvement with the private sector, major players within the tech space? Are they developing the skills to combat these cyber attacks?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thank you. Absolutely. What we're seeing is organizations, the major brands and a lot of smaller brands have really gotten religion on this. And so what you have is products with enhanced security in the first place. That's just the starting point. But then major brands like Samsung, Comcast, Apple, Microsoft, Intel, a lot of the big brands are in one way or another helping grow the ecosystem's capability in cybersecurity. And so you've got stuff like Apple HomeKit, where in order for a third-party device to qualify to be part of the Apple HomeKit system, it's got to pass cybersecurity requirements. Samsung works with SmartThings, same thing. Comcast, Xfinity Home, same thing. These third-party device makers are required to hit these cybersecurity marks in order to qualify for the cloud services and marketing programs and other things that are in things like HomeKit, SmartThings, and Xfinity Home. So.
Yeah, and Mike, I noticed in your notes here that there also needs to be international coordination on combating these types of bots. I mean, clearly we're in a very heightened geopolitical environment right now. Is that going to stifle that coordination at all?
So where this is at, basically every major nation recognizes this problem. Everybody is suffering from the same issues. That attack that I mentioned earlier that took down the United States infrastructure, 90% of the traffic came from outside the United States because these devices are compromised all over the world. So every nation, every region is working on the same problem. And what we're trying to do is coordinate at the international level, EU, the UK, the United States, Canada, Japan, the list goes on. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions. There's discussions going on right now in between the United States and the EU in harmonization meetings. And one of the things that they're really zeroing in on is this new United States program driven by the White House from a industry proposal and picked up by the FCC for a U.S. cyber trust mark. This cyber trust mark would be a consumer-friendly mark on a package, mark on an e-commerce website that tells you that the product has met certain minimum cybersecurity requirements. Now consumers have a choice. Now consumers have the power to make a decision. Now we can see market forces start pulling better products along and pushing back on the products that haven't met these bars. Retailers now have a way to sort through, because if you're a retailer and you want to source product for your consumers, if you want to provide product for the customers, there hasn't been a really good way to sort through the mess until now. Now we've got this new mark coming. System integrators, if somebody who's installing a $40,000 smart home system on a mansion, I mean, they have no real way of making these distinctions, and now they're getting a tool. Enterprises use these devices. What they connect to their network, they're concerned about. This U.S. cyber trust mark is going to benefit everybody in this way.
And Mike, I'm sure we're going to talk about this extensively at CES taking place in Las Vegas, January 8th through the 12th. I mean, and of course, there's a number of international dignitaries, enterprise, government officials there. So give us a little bit of a preview.
Absolutely. The Consumer Electronics Show, CES, CES 2024, it's the largest tech event in the world, largest annual tech event in the world, and we will be seeing virtually everything is connected now. You'll see, as you mentioned, government officials, media. We get a huge media presence, huge international presence. We're expecting a very large crowd this year. The pandemic was a big hit to any kind of gathered event, but this has really come back roaring. So you'll see a lot of AI, artificial intelligence. You'll see a lot influence of AI. You'll see a lot of influence of all kinds of innovation. Plus, there's conference programming. We'll have over 150 sessions of conference programming on all of these topics. Policy topics. We'll have major government leaders coming in, doing keynotes and fireside chats, panels of subject matter experts. There's an awful lot going on with the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, as you mentioned, January 9th through 12th. And look forward to seeing you and everybody else there.
Yes, you will have Trade Talks there as well. Looking forward to it, Mike. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.